This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Tom, I'm freaked out still. It's Halloween month.
Oh, boy, yeah, things are just going to get scarier from here on out.
Yeah, I'm walking down the street every day, all day, every day, being startled by perceived ghouls and ghosts.
I had quite a scare this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Because... we did the last episode on these monster cereals, right? Mm-hmm. And then you left 3 family-sized boxes of monster cereals.
Did you eat them all?
Not all of them, but I have been indulging from time to time in these monster cereals. And this morning I had a big bowl of Boo Berries.
You love Boo Berry.
It's my favorite, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the case. Like, if we went back to when I was a kid, because they've changed these formulas. But anyway, I had a big bowl of Boo Berry, and then shortly thereafter, I did big green poops in the toilet.
Okay.
And I didn't know that that's what caused it at first, and I thought I was very ill. And I got very scared about that. And then I realized, it's the Boo Berries, and I was like, oh, that little rascal, he did scare me in the end, that little ghost.
Yeah, he got you good. Boo Berry, oh yeah, he is a little ghost.
Yeah, he made me think there was something wrong with my intestines.
Yeah, I wish we had talked about what you were going to say ahead of time.
I told you I had something to talk about. I told you I had something scary to talk about.
I guess that's scary. Yeah, I don't want to go down the... Do you have more to say about it?
It looked like baby poop. You asked me if I had more to say about it, and that's what I have to say about it. Startled for a few seconds, and then I was like, it's probably the Boo Berry.
Do you feel good about yourself? Wait, hold on. No, this is less judgmental than it sounds. Uh-huh. When something like that happens,
yeah,
do you feel... I guess the question is, do you feel bad about yourself? Like, what am I doing? How am I living? Like,
that my poop is a color it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, I ingested something that is so unnatural.
Yeah.
That it's scaring me into thinking something's horribly wrong. Because this is kind of like a red flag for something that could be really wrong.
No, because it actually made me feel good that I was like, good, my body rejected that part of the Boo Berry. It's like we can't do anything with this. Get it out of here.
Right.
Even if it makes this poop green. I mean, I guess my body doesn't care what color my poop is.
Right.
But and I
regret asking a follow-up question, to be honest.
I know from eating the all black Whopper a while ago, because that also turned my poop, I think, blue in that case.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how much food coloring is used in food.
Yeah.
And how toxic they've, at least in the past, found some of these food colorings to be.
Not the new ones.
The fact that we haven't just been like, you know what, it's not that important.
Yeah, let's stop making foods colors.
And, Tom, I watch the shows. I watch Chopped. I watch Top Chef. I know that we eat with our eyes first. Mm-hmm. But, like, that's, like, the worst part of eating. Like, looking at it while you're waiting for it to get to your mouth,
well,
I guess.
And I've never eaten something where I'm like, damn, look at that, the shade of blue that food is. It looks delicious. Like, there's not aside from like advertising photos, there's not like a use for food coloring other than making something a color it shouldn't be as like a goof. Yeah.
Or making something that you think should be this color. Yeah. But they've either concocted it from something else or like stripped out all the nutritional value.
Yeah. But I'm saying, it's not like when you're making spaghetti sauce that it's like, and also put in some red food coloring because otherwise it doesn't have that nice red color to it.
Right. But I'm sure I'm sure at like Sbarro's or something, they've like found like godless way to make this make their sauce.
Yeah.
That's like, oh yeah, it's not red anymore. Because we didn't use tomatoes in the tomato sauce, but we've
Right.
approximated the flavor. So we'll also just squeeze in a few drops of this poison to make it red again.
I remember as a kid, there was like red food coloring in the cabinet of my kitchen all the time, and I was always like, "Let's do something with this." And my mom was like, "No, I don't even know why we had it. I don't think it was opened. I don't think it ever got open.
I think like
It's probably for like birthday cakes.
Yeah,
or...
with food coloring, like a couple drops go a long way. I learned this. I watched this show on the Food Network, Girl Meets Farm. She makes a lot of sweet treats, and sometimes she puts in, but a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah,
and the same thing happened in my house,
like
and I think
confectionery. That's fun.
But like I think my mom made a birthday cake like once or twice.
Yeah.
And then we just had that same bottle of food coloring in our cabinet my entire
like
childhood.
1 or 2 drops.
Yeah. It's weird. And I don't think you can safely dispose of food coloring. They don't let you put it in the normal trash.
No, I had to fish these poops out of the toilet bowl, Tim.
Okay, Tom.
The city came around. They were like, hey, you can't put that in the pipes. What are you, nuts?
Tom,
You're going to get everybody sick.
How's your Halloween month going, Tom?
It's good. It's starting to get a little cooler in New York, so it's starting to feel a little more Halloween-y.
Are you planning on dressing up in a costume for Halloween this year?
No, but only because this month I have at least 4 planned events, 3 weddings, and then the show we just did the other night.
Funeral.
No, the show, I mean, in a lot of ways, the show we did the other night was a funeral. Because
Expand on that.
Because we killed
Tim. I see.
We killed the audience. But 3 weddings and a live show. That's like a lot in normal times, but especially after like essentially being a hermit for the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot. So like, I'm not even thinking about Halloween yet.
I went into a Spirit Halloween store the other day. And
just to browse.
No, I was looking. We had to go to a wedding where you and I both went.
Yes.
Where we had to wear colorful clothing.
Yeah.
And I thought I might be able to get like a Joker costume or like the Mask costume or something, but they didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed with the selection there. It was all stuff like I didn't know about.
Do you think maybe they don't get the good stuff yet?
I think maybe.
Yeah.
I think at some point things are just going to be like a lot of people are going to want to go as the memes that are coming out like this week.
I mean, literally, I just started watching that show Squid Game last night, the night before. And literally, that was like my first thought when like the bad guys, I guess they're bad guys, I don't really know yet, no spoilers, came out. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a Halloween costume because they're wearing just like Tyvek, like one color overalls with like masks on.
Right.
I'm like, oh, everybody's going to want to do that for Halloween. Not me.
What are you going to do? Lady Ghostbuster again?
Lady Ghostbuster
You're going to
again.
wear the Lady Ghostbusters costume and be like, see, it should be on a man. I'm reclaiming it.
Yeah, doesn't it look so much better?
You're going to wear like the one that has the patch with like Kristen Wiig's character's name.
Yeah,
and be
cross out. And I'll write Mr. Kristen Wiig.
Yeah. It's Egon to you because he was cool. I don't know. Is this anything, something with Squid Game and squad goals?
I don't know if that's anything, Tim. You should keep workshopping it,
Yeah,
though.
I will.
You might... Squid goals?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the squid goals are just to win the game.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a meme.
That's not a meme. Again, I don't think
Print it out, Tom. It's a meme.
Well, you don't print out memes, Tim. I think you really have a fundamental misunderstanding on, most, like how culture works.
I think we should dress up, Tom. I think you and I should embrace Halloween.
We'll be all
month.
dressed up and know where to go, Tim. Where are we going to go?
We'll walk down the street.
We'll walk down the street. We'll get egged. and shaving creamed.
You're not going to get egged and shaving
We're going to get egged and shaving cream, maybe even silly stringed.
Not if you're dressed like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, that's true. And then we just point at people with bony fingers.
Yeah, and they don't know if we're the real Grim Reaper or not.
Yeah. Well, that might be why they throw eggs to see if we're the real Grim Reaper or not.
Great. It's like, all right, you get us? Oh, no, we're not the Grim Reaper. Yeah, you've really gotten us. But guess what? It's a bad way to find out because, F around and find out is what I say, Tom.
Yeah. So you're saying, like, if you did that to a real Grim Reaper, they'd...
Yeah, he might be, like, en route to, like, touching an old guy and bringing him to hell. And then he gets hit with an egg, and he's like, all right, the old guy gets a stay of execution tonight, and I'm going to get some teen in a car that threw an egg at me.
You don't think eggs would go right through the Grim Reaper? You think the Grim Reaper's corporal?
They might go through him, but
again,
the disrespect has been done.
That's true. Make sure he can't see it. Trying him in the back of the head, which actually, why am I saying that? I don't want to get hit in the back of the head with an egg, and that's what's going to happen. Yeah. A lot more likely I'm going to get an egg thrown at me than the Grim Reaper.
Have you ever been a scary thing for Halloween?
Have you ever been the Grim Reaper? Not really. I'm never real interested in being a scary thing because your options with being a scary thing are like putting on like a rubber mask and then you can't breathe all night.
Yeah, or it's going to just like get all the condensation from your hot breath in there.
Yeah, or putting on like elaborate makeup. Or not even elaborate makeup, like messy makeup.
Right.
Like makeup where like any clothes you're wearing that night are probably going to be ruined from it. And also like don't touch anything or whatever. Especially like if you got to use like hand makeup if you're being like a zombie or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would never do hand makeup, but I would wear green gloves and, sit in a chair for 3 or 4 hours and get elaborate Shrek makeup on my head.
I mean, that would be like prosthetics mixed with...
Yeah.
Have you ever seen what Shrek looked like on Broadway? It was terrifying.
Yeah, he looked like Shrek. He looked like a dang ogre.
Because I used to always hate that. As a kid, you'd go to like, something on ice or whatever. And they'd be like, look, it's Winnie the Pooh. And it's like, that's just a man wearing Winnie the Pooh's clothes.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Hated
they cut
that.
the shit.
Yeah.
I hated that Sesame Street Live, right?
Uh-huh.
I went to it was a legitimate theater. They had a stage set up. Who comes out? Big Bird. Great.
Off to a fantastic start.
And then, all right, now we're going to bring out Bert and Ernie. Awesome. The original Odd Couple. Bert, Ernie. The curtain opens. Bert and Ernie are the same size as Big Bird in this stage production.
Crazy. Absolutely madness.
Yeah, it's just like a regular sized man.
Yeah, with a giant head.
Yeah.
And the lips don't move.
Yeah. Pissed me off. I went to Sesame Place as a kid. I was disappointed with all the things because I was like, well, finally, I'm going to go to Sesame Street and I'm going to see like same thing.
Yeah.
Man-sized Muppets.
Yeah.
Walking around. That's not...
It's a sick world. Yeah. We've seen the Muppets. We've seen Bert and Ernie with human beings. We know how big they're supposed to be. We know
to scale, right?
Are we to believe that the inhabitants of Sesame Street are some kind of giants, the human beings?
Yeah, look, you see cartoons. You see Mickey Mouse. You see Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Yeah, like... I don't know. I see them in real life. Okay, that's what they look like.
All right, you're telling me they're 8 feet tall. Fine.
Yeah, but we've seen the proper scale of these Sesame Street Muppets. I was pissed off then. I'm still pissed off now.
Well, Tim, enough of this nonsense. We got to talk about some serious stuff. Murderers. Tim, it's Halloween month, and we did spooky cereals, monster cereals last month, but I want to talk about the real monsters, murderers.
Actual real-life murderers.
Yeah. And who's maybe one of the best-known murderers of them all?
Charles Manson.
Yeah.
He never actually murdered a guy.
I know. It's bullshit. They shouldn't have put him in jail. The Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
This is the Zodiac speaking. Remember that?
Yeah.
He wrote it in a letter He didn't. No, he might have said on the phone at some point.
Yeah, he called in. Like, they had conversations with him. At least according to the film Zodiac.
Yeah, they had conversations, some of which were later debunked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he did, like, call into police stations and stuff. And, like, if it wasn't him, it was somebody pretending to be him that knew about people who had just been murdered.
Now, with the... Hey, Tom, in this day and age, because this happened in the 60s, right?
Yeah, the swinging 60s.
If there was a Zodiac killer at large capturing the nation's attention these days,
yeah,
do you think they'd cut promos for it on the news? That might sound a little something like this. There's a Zodiac on the loose. Think? Like a commercial for the news?
Where they'd use the song Maniac from the 80s?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd use that on the news.
They'd license it. They'd go through the proper channels.
But maybe, I don't know. The local news is fucking insane nowadays, so I wouldn't put it past them. Which actually, so this story's back in the news, not just because it's Halloween month, because some internet knuckleheads say that they've cracked the case.
I love that internet knuckleheads have really started sticking their nose where it doesn't belong.
Well, and in this case, like, I was reading the article, and one of the other articles, like, one of the articles from that day that was listed, and I was like, oh, this is just like a slow ass news day, was about how some...
There's a Zodiac on the loose, and you can hear all about it tonight on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah, it's great. That would really bring in the viewers.
Yeah.
One of the other articles from today on the same website was about this mom who has like 1-year-old twins, and she's a TikToker, and she joked that one of them was her favorite, and people were upset. So I was like, oh boy, it's a slow news day where...
Wait, that was in the news?
That was in the news, yeah.
The news sucks.
Yeah. Well, so in this case, it was the case breakers is what they call themselves.
Ooh.
And you hear that, and apparently a lot of, news organizations were like, well, sounds legit. And they just ran this article about who these people claim is the Zodiac Killer. And then the FBI was just like, no. But in fairness, then tell us who it is, the FBI.
Here's the thing, Tom.
Uh-huh.
We've long said this. From Jack the Ripper to the Zodiac Killer, everybody's like, it's capturing all of our imaginations. Who could these guys be? Who are these murders perpetuated by? Mm-hmm. And then they're going to say a name.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like John Lennon was the Zodiac Killer.
Well... The Zodiac Killer is one of the few cases...
Turns out it was Chubby Checker. I'd be so pissed. I'd be so upset.
The Zodiac Killer is one of these cases where there actually have been some high-profile people rumored. And I'm not just talking about, what's his name, Ted Cruz. There were legitimate suspicions that it was the Manson family.
Okay.
Which it's like, okay, like 60s... But, it's like, one of these things where as soon as you start, like, poking at it, it's like, oh, no, it wasn't. And also, they would have gladly...
I like the only thing that in its favor, in your mind, was it happened during the same decade.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It was just like, it doesn't really make sense. And then Ted Kaczynski.
The Unabomber.
The Unabomber himself, they thought could have been the Zodiac Killer for a minute.
Huh.
But he had alibis. I don't think he was like, I have an alibi. They looked at records and they were like, oh, he wasn't in the same place a few of these times.
They would have gotten real lucky if they caught the Unabomber, and then it's like, oh, and guess what? He also turned out to be the Zodiac Killer. 2 birds, one stone.
And guess what? He was also John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up all these cases.
And Jack the Ripper.
Well, then you would have been impressed. You would have been like, finally, somebody I know they're saying is Jack the Ripper. Like his handwriting and fingerprints didn't match.
That's a big one.
I mean, I don't know why these ones are even like listed where it's like, you could have said like, it could have been Captain Kangaroo.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If you're just going to put somebody who is alive and like doing stuff at the same time.
Never occurred to me that Captain Kangaroo could have had a secret dark side.
Captain Kangaroo lived in our town growing up. You know this? And like my parents would always tell me this, like it was a big deal. Like whenever we were driving by his house, they were like, it's where Captain Kangaroo lived. It's like that show went off the air 20 years before I was born. And I'm like 6 years old. Why do you think I even know what the hell you're talking about?
See, I would occasionally, I think I saw like clips of it. There were like specials on PBS or something, and all these ping pong balls fell from the ceiling.
I just saw like the local news when it was his birthday. Sometimes they would like show a clip.
But when I was 6 years old, I wrote Captain Kangaroo a letter.
Yeah, and you're like, who the hell are you?
No, I was like, hey, I hear you're an entertainer. Let's put on a show. Like, get in touch. Like, you and I will, like, put on a show for the neighborhood. Like, and they wrote back. I sent it to his house, I think.
Yeah.
I got a form letter back typed up.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Timmy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the captain has a full schedule and can't come do a show with you.
Mm-hmm.
Please accept this autographed photo. Pissed me off. I drew glasses and a mustache on him.
Wow.
My family still talks about it to this day, how as a 6-year-old I was so pissed at Captain Kangaroo that I defaced his autographed picture that he sent me.
Well, slapping. You were looking to give him like a Quentin Tarantino-esque second career here.
Yeah.
Bring him back to the forefront.
Yeah, he
to a
was
new generation.
old and off TV. You got this hot 6-year-old coming up. He's got a lot of buzz around him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of big ideas.
Offering to put him in a show.
Yeah, neighborhood show.
He has his goddamn staff decline it.
Yeah.
At least, you know, say it to my face, Captain.
Well, I mean, how weirded out would your parents have been if he just like knocked on the door one day and was like, I'm here to do a show with Tim.
I'm real old now.
Yeah. Please leave us be. We have a show to work on.
It's my process. Just me and the writer alone. I was just going to write the show. I was just producing.
Oh, you were going to come up with stuff for him to do. Well, I'm sorry to hear that happen to you, Tim. It sounds very similar to my Highlights magazine story. We both dealt with rejection from mainstream Hollywood, Captain Kangaroo and Highlights magazine at a very young age. Do you think there's an alternate reality where as a 6-year-old you started a radio show with Captain Kangaroo and like he's 120 years old now and he's doing this podcast with you instead of me?
Yeah, and we've taken the world by storm, Tom.
Yeah. Timmy and the Captain.
Yeah. In that universe, Spotify would have given us $200 million instead of Joe Rogan.
The Captain and Timmy.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
So, Tim, the Zodiac Killer. Let me give you some basics about this.
All right.
Hey, I'm just going to say
let's run the stats here.
This son of a bee.
Wow.
He operated in Northern California in the late 1960s. Killed 5 people, injured 2. Claimed he killed 37, though.
Wow.
He was... I think this is what made him hard to catch. He was like a little all over the place with who he targeted and how. Like the first 2 times, it
had to do with the Zodiac, from what I understand. Zodiac signs?
I don't think it did. I think they thought it did because he named himself the Zodiac, but I don't think it actually had anything to do with it.
Red herring, huh?
Yeah. He shot some people. He stabbed some people. Like I said, I mean, he wasn't like especially good at it.
Did he kill anybody with a samurai sword?
No.
Amateur. I
mean, to kill 5 but injure 2, it's like, so you you tried to kill 7 people and you only killed 5. And it's like those people that survived, it was because he was like, well, that person's surely dead. Time for me to get out of here.
Right. I mean, I feel like you're like making fun of him for being a coward. How many people have you murdered in cold blood, Tom? 71% hit rate isn't bad. And also, if he claims he killed 37, right?
Yeah, but what if he claimed he killed 37, but it's like 10 of them were just injured?
Then like only 5% of them got away.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still, I feel like a lot of other heavy hitter serial killers out there have better batting averages.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't let people get away. Although in fairness, you know, the 2 of these people got away and they still never found this guy. I mean, at this point, it's more or less assumed this guy's dead. If he's not dead, he's very old.
Yeah, but they also just got the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
And he's very old.
Right.
It was still really sasatisfying to be
that's
like,
true.
This old fuck. Like, it's also like, okay, boomer. You know, like one of those. Like,
yeah, I always like when they're like, we found this like 95-year-old like former SS officer who like thought he had gotten away with it. And guess what? We're throwing your 95-year-old ass in jail until you die.
Fuck him up for the last 6 months he's alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at least it's like, you're really going to get screwed on like your ending. Yeah. You know, you're not going to die like, haha, I got away with it. Yeah. It's like, no, you're going to be thrown in jail where, I don't know, probably the other white supremacists in there will look up to you as a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
But what made him very famous, Tim, was that he had these interactions with the press and the police.
Right.
In his time, he sent 4 different ciphers to the police. And only 2 were solved, and one of them was only solved last year. It took 51 years to solve it.
Really? Oh, yeah. But as with all of this, there's so many people on the case here. Yeah. That somebody will solve it, and then other people will claim it's not really solved. And everybody's like, there's a lot of infighting on the kind of like sleuthing community. Yeah,
a little bit. I mean,
you're looking at me like I'm completely wrong. I might be completely wrong.
No, from what I understand, the second one that just got solved, it sounds like there is like universal consensus, like, oh, okay, yeah, that's solved. But I was reading a thing about like one of the guys that took that on. He was basically like, this is bullshit. I'll take this. I'll put it through a computer. That nobody's tried that yet. And that didn't work. It took them a lot longer. And these ciphers, when they get
decoded,
there's like nothing good.
What do they say? He left notes with like weird symbols and shit, right?
Right. One of them said, I like killing people because it is so fun. It is much more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you'll try to slow me down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife. Pity.
What's that last part?
There's a bunch of letters at the end that are just nonsense letters. And I should also mention throughout that, there's like a lot of bad misspellings.
I also feel like they should have stopped trying to decode those once they got one that said, like, I'm not going to tell you who I am, otherwise then you'd catch me. It's just like, all right, then these aren't going to be very fruitful.
No, he didn't say that in this one, did he?
Yeah.
No, he said, I like killing people because it is so much fun.
Keep going. It's what you read.
Is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous man of all. It gives me the most thrilling experience. Better than getting your rocks out. The best part, I will be reborn. Oh, I will not give you my name. Yeah, all right.
Because you'll find me and I won't be able to kill people anymore. Yeah.
But they fell for his initial trick, which was with that first cipher. He was like, in the cipher is my name, like decode it and you'll solve it. And then the
constantly Charlie Brown with the football.
Yeah. The next one was, I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which bringo up a point about me. I'm not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise. So they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death.
Now, if his plan worked out as planned, as he thinks, that's a pretty good deal.
That everybody you kill becomes your slave in paradise?
Yeah.
What do you mean that's a pretty good deal?
I mean, if he's dead now, Tom, and he was right.
He's got a bunch of slaves.
And we all have egg on our face. It's like, well, he got us.
It's true. Not a lot of people consider the idea that maybe he was right, and that's the way everything works. It'd be really messed up if like when we died and we got to heaven, they were like, all right, well, how many people did you kill? It's like, what? I didn't kill anybody. Like, all right, well, we'll let you into paradise, but you won't have any slaves. We only let you have slaves work for you if you kill people. So otherwise,
it's going to be hard work in paradise. Like, also,
no,
I'm going to get to paradise. Do you need slaves in paradise?
You're going to have to get up to get your own Mai Tais up at the bar. And if you had some of these people you killed, they could be slaves. You could be like, hey, go get me a Mai Tai.
You know what? I wouldn't want that. I can get my own Mai Tais.
Yeah, I mean, still just being on a beach drinking Mai Tais is nice enough. I consider that close enough to paradise. I don't need to murder somebody and make them my eternal slave.
Yeah, and they can't have a... Well, they could drink Mai Tais too. I don't know.
You think the Zodiac's telling his slaves, like, yeah, you know what, you can knock off early, have a Mai Tai yourself? No, he's probably torturing them even more.
This guy.
This guy really stinks. Tim, before I go any further educating you about the Zodiac Killer, I do want to mention one thing before I forget it, which is that at one point, you know, like I said, he had a lot of interactions with the press and stuff. Mm-hmm. He told the press or the police, like, he was always threatening, like, I'll go on a killing spree if you don't. He threatened that he was going to have a bus bombed, I think it was.
If it went under 50 miles an hour?
Something along those lines. If he wasn't given like a live talk show, kind of, not like him, not him as a talk show host, but a live conversation on air with one of two people. Can you guess either of the people?
Dick Cavett?
No.
The Pope.
No. I'll tell you one of them, Melvin Belly.
Who's that?
He is a attorney to the stars.
Really? What stars?
I didn't write down who they were, but it was like a bunch of people. The other one, F. Lee Bailey.
Wowie zowie.
F. Lee Bailey, busy. Couldn't do it.
What?
Yeah.
That's not like F. Lee.
I know, right? He must have been really busy if he wasn't like, oh, a serial killer wants me to be on television and he's going to call in and talk to me? Yeah, I'll be there.
What was he doing that he was so busy?
I don't know. Probably like his actual lawyer job.
I mean, that didn't stop him from like talking to like a UFO guy on the air.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might have been like a tight turnaround, you know, and like, and maybe F. Lee Bailey was on the East Coast.
So did he bomb the bus or what?
No, they got this other guy, Melvin Belly, who sounds like he was like, I should have looked into this guy more. I'm sure I'd be like, oh, that guy. It sounds like he was like a very F. Lee Bailey type lawyer.
Right. Bailey.
Bailey. But somebody called in and they were like, don't anybody call in. With like pranks and stuff, even though it's like the 60s and the 70s, people have to prank.
And it was really easy to prank.
Yeah. Because we want to keep the lines open, and they got a call from this guy who said, like, yeah, I'm the Zodiac Killer, but I prefer you call me Sam. And like he talked to him for a while on the air, and then they traced the call to a mental institution. It's just a guy who was. I'm like, what? The mental institution just lets people, like, oh yeah, you can use the phone.
Melvin Belly
be on a phone call for like an hour on TV. So yeah, they were like,
that must have gotten real good. You know how they could have promoted that?
How?
There's a Zodiac on the phone.
I think it was too tight of a turnaround. There was another case. So there are a bunch of. So that's what's crazy about this case, is that there are a bunch of like instances where. There are a bunch of instances, first off, where people don't know, like it's speculated that there were other victims. Mm-hmm. But there are a bunch of instances where people almost got, killed or worse by potentially the Zodiac, and they got away by the skin of their teeth.
Do you think you've ever had a close call? Do you think like...
Oh, with like a murderer?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I have. Nothing's jumping out. Like maybe, but nothing weird enough that I, would remember it. But yeah, there have been times where, sure, like somebody on the street or whatever, it's like, hey, come over here. And you're like, no, thanks. But I mean, that happens like every day.
You had a run-in with the DC sniper one time, didn't you?
I didn't. Somebody I worked with did.
Yeah.
While the DC sniper was doing all of his bad stuff. Yeah.
Sniping.
Yeah. A reporter I knew talked to him. And
Ted Koppel.
No, it wasn't Ted Koppel. I didn't know Ted Koppel. I knew Sam Donaldson.
All right. Well, I knew Ted Koppel.
I knew Sam Donaldson, and it was very nice to meet him.
Can you do your impression of Sam Donaldson?
Tim, thank you. That's what I was hoping for. I was working at my desk in college, and somebody was like, "Oh, and this is Tom," and they're like, "Tom, this is Sam Donaldson." And I looked up, I was like, "Holy shit, it's Sam Donaldson!" I went, "Oh my goodness, it's very nice to meet you, Mr. Donaldson." I shook his hand. He went, "Well, it's very nice to be met, Tom."
That's great.
I was like, "Oh, this is great." And then like during that same, somebody was like, "Tom, this is Wolf Blitzer, this is Tom." And I looked over at my desk and I was like, "There's nobody here." And he was like, "I'm down here." He's a very short man. Yeah. He wasn't as nice. He was fine.
He seems not so bright. One time I was in the line to get into a taping of Late Night with Conan O'Brien in like 1996 or something.
Yeah.
Al Roker walked by the line.
Yeah.
Probably like 4 or 5 times. I think just because every time people were like, "Hey, it's Al Roker." Yeah, he was really looking for attention.
You don't think he was just going back and forth between like the weather center and right, he did the weather.
Yeah, he did the weather.
Yeah.
He also shit his pants at the White House one time.
Yeah, but I mean, we wouldn't know that if he didn't tell us, so good for him.
He seems like a good man. But
absolutely.
He's a bit of a ham that day. And
I was like, ham every day. I mean, that's kind of his bit.
Is he walking past the Conan line, like, every day looking for accolades?
Yeah, like he's on a show with like people banging on the windows. Like, isn't that enough? Yeah. So yeah, Sam Donaldson, cool guy. Wolf Blitzer, a big I don't know, just like nothing.
Neither of them had the personal run-in with the DC sniper.
No, neither of them were. It was a college student. It was one of the reporters that did. And nobody believed her except for me.
Tom,
what?
What did you do about it?
I went back to the scene to try and find some clues. Unfortunately, the case had gone cold. So this woman, Kathleen Johns, poor lady, she had like an infant kid, and I was going to say she was 10 months pregnant, but that doesn't make sense. I think she had a 10-month-old child, and she was like 7 months pregnant. Mm-hmm. And she's driving down the road, and
Irish twins, they call it.
Yeah. Somebody was like honking their horn and flashing their lights, and she pulled over, which is like, gee, don't do that.
In the 60s, that's what people did, though.
Yeah. And, the guy parked his car and he came out. He's like, oh, your tire's wobbling like crazy. He's like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, I can fix that for you in a jiff, though. And he fixed it. And then it's like, all right, see you later. And he drove off. And then she went to drive back on the highway and her tire fell off her car. So he came back. He's like, oh, geez, look at this. Oh, I'll help you. I'll get in. I'll drive you to a service center. 90 minutes later, after they've passed 5 different service centers, she finally jumps out of the car at an intersection and just runs into a field and hides. He gets out. He's looking for her with a flashlight, but he can't find her. And eventually he leaves. She manages to, call or flag down a cop or something, but she manages to get to a police station. These cops, these cowards, they're like, oh no, that sounds like it was the Zodiac Killer. He might come back here and kill us all. We're going to bring you to a restaurant, and it's like a closed restaurant. It's a darkened restaurant. You hide there. It's like, what? Keep her at this isn't the Terminator. You all have guns. If somebody comes in just wasting everybody, freaking fight back. You're supposed to save this lady. Help her. Yeah. Don't just be like, we'll hide you in an abandoned restaurant. Hope he doesn't find you there, because then you're going to really be screwed. But the real crazy thing about this, the reason why it's thought to be the if it wasn't the Zodiac, it was some other serial killer, because they eventually found the car. The car had been completely gutted and set on fire, completely torched. So obviously the person was trying to get rid of any kind of evidence,
right? Which
is another thing the Zodiac was very good at. There were even instances where
not getting caught.
Yeah, there was an instance where somebody did see him right after a murder, and he was wiping down. He had killed a cab driver, and he was wiping down the seats and everything, making sure he got rid of any of his prints before he left.
Yeah. He killed a cab driver, huh?
Killed a cab driver.
I vaguely remember all of this from the film Zodiac.
Yeah. One of the all-time best movies, I think.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
Yeah. And it's fairly accurate to what happened. I'm sure there are a few inaccuracies, but from what I remember of the movie and from what I read, it's
it's a movie about obsession made by an obsessed man.
Yeah.
So I think I think David Fincher went to great lengths to make it as accurate as possible.
Right. And
he's a maniac.
That movie mostly follows Paul Avery, who was a reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, I believe.
Yeah. Was he a editorial cartoonist or something?
Yeah, I feel like his job wasn't really related to the Zodiac.
He just fell down a hole.
The Zodiac sent him a Halloween card. That said, peekaboo, you are doomed.
Oh.
That's a scary card to get from a serial killer.
We should send out cards saying that for Halloween month, Tom.
Well, Tim, that's what tied all this into Halloween month. That's why because I'm the Zodiac sent out a Halloween card once.
And murder and stuff.
Yeah.
Killing and death and skeletons.
His last letter in 1974, he called The Exorcist, which had just come out, I guess, the best satirical comedy he'd ever seen.
Whoa, this guy's twisted.
Yeah, so at the end he was just kind of like an edgelord. Where it's yeah, man, all right, you killed a bunch of people. We're not oh, he thought the scary movie was funny. Yeah. Wow, he really is twisted. It's yeah, he also shot and stabbed people to death. Do you remember in the movie, So this was, I believe, the third set of killings. The first two, he had shot people. And then the third one, it was like some young lovers on an island, and they like turn around, and it's like a dude wearing an executioner's hood with the Zodiac symbol on his chest, like he's a super villain. And then he tied them up. He made the girl tie the guy up, and then he tied the girl up, and then he just stabbed him a whole bunch of times.
And the whole time that Donovan song was playing?
Well, we don't know that for sure, but possibly, yeah. So he was just like a very scary man. You didn't need to, pretend that you didn't think The Exorcist was scary to scare people more.
I think wearing a scary costume makes this all a lot scarier.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
because
you'd think it'd be like a little too on the nose, like you dress like this, but it's like, no, thinking about that, it's pretty scary.
Well, and if you think about, this happened with a lot of the other murders, where it's like, if you're somewhere where you don't expect to see a person, and then like all of a sudden somebody pops up, like it's going to scare you at first, but then you're going to like be like, all right, relax, assume good intentions, be like, do you need something? Can I help you? But if you like turn around and somebody's wearing an executioner's hood with like a symbol on their chest, all in black, you're like, oh no, this guy's not looking for directions. This guy's not lost or something. He's here to do something bad.
What would you think if you saw somebody in the full-on Broadway prosthetics and makeup for Shrek?
Yeah, if it were on the Broadway stage, I'd be excited.
What if you're in a field?
Oh, then I would not be excited. I'd be like, something awful's happened.
Yeah, it's the first time I wouldn't be happy to see Shrek.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be met with side-splitting laughter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like something like that, though, if somebody's wearing like complicated makeup, then I'd probably just be more confused than anything.
But then you'd be like, shit, this guy's got accomplices.
Yeah, he's got people that helped him, but he didn't put all this makeup on himself.
It's just like, Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire, couldn't put the stuff on himself. He needed
No, but like eventually he was able to, which didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
He didn't always have Harvey Fierstein do it.
Yeah, sometimes he just stuck his face in a cake.
Yeah, and like a cream pie, just to throw everybody off the trail. Yeah, I don't know, but if somebody's like dressed all in black like a villain, it's like, oh man, they're here to do villainy things.
Yeah. Is that your thought? Would this be your thought right before getting murdered? Oh, man.
Oh, absolutely. Like, come on. Not this way. Tim, I want to talk to you about a couple of the big suspects. Well, I want to talk. Maybe I should start talking about this new guy that these knucklehead case breakers think they found. Gary Francis Post. And it's incredibly sketchy what they claim. It's basically they claim, like, look at this guy. He has scars on his forehead that match the scars that the Zodiac had. But it's like...
That was just an artist's rendition, right? And it wasn't like a... They were like, and he had these significant scars on his face, right?
They were wrinkles.
Yeah.
He had lines in his forehead, and it's like, and look at this guy, he has the same lines. It's like, yeah, you're showing me pictures of an 80-year-old man before he died. Like, okay, those, yeah, he kind of looks like him, but a lot, these aren't great sketches. And even the sketches and stuff, there are, other people that say like, no, I saw him and he didn't look like that. Like, these sketches are not ironclad.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Police sketch artists.
Yeah.
They like real?
Yeah.
I would like to know, because like I can't.
Nowadays, I think they use like the flip books, or no, not even. They use like computers, I'm sure. Like,
see what kind of nose,
what kind of mouth?
Yeah, but what is that? I don't know how to, like,
how to describe somebody to a sketch artist.
And I'm sure they're trained to ask
good questions.
But also, like, I would like to see what would happen if I went to a police sketch artist and described you to them and how close. Because, like,
I was gonna say, like,
and like, let alone one person that you saw briefly during a traumatic experience.
Yeah. If I went to a sketch artist, I couldn't describe like anyone I know's nose or like ears, like maybe eyes and lips.
But kind of, but I don't have the vocabulary for that.
Right.
To, like,
I would
have a person.
I think with those features, at least, if like I gave a description, I might be able to do that. Like, well, no, I think bigger, and then might get to the point of like, yeah, I think that's what they look like.
Right.
But other parts, like, hell no. You should try and go to like a freelance police sketch artist and see.
I'll go to I'll report a crime. I'll just describe you.
Yeah, it's a good way to save money. You have to go all the way to Times Square and pay an arm and a leg for a caricature.
And he'll be like, can I bring that home with me? And they'll be like, sure. And then I'll give it to you as a birthday present.
Yeah.
I got this picture of you.
Or you can just wait until they put them up in the post office and you can take one of those.
True. Frame it.
So
Happy birthday, Tom.
That's one of the things they claimed. And then they also claimed that that they removed the letters that are in his name, Gary Francis Post, from one of the ciphers, and the cipher had a different message after they did
What did it say?
They didn't say. That's the whole thing. That it's like, well, that's the most important. I mean, maybe they're like, it had a different message. It was gibberish. It didn't make any sense at all.
Right.
So they're not showing their work, where it's like the cipher, and especially if it was like one of the two ciphers that couldn't be deciphered, if somehow using the letters from this guy's name, then it would be like, oh, so the name is like, if you figured out the cipher, you would figure out the name, or you'd at least be closer to it.
Right.
But they're not showing their work at least at this point.
Right.
So it's like, well, this is nothing. This is, look, this guy kind of looks like this guy, and then trust us, when you take the names out of a cipher, it gives a different message, but we're not telling you what that message is.
Right. I mean, I guess you could just you've seen the decoded ciphers.
Yeah.
I guess we could all do that ourselves, but also, and look, Zodiac was, I guess, pretty smart to despite the misspelling.
To what, kill all those people, Tim? Sick.
And evade capture, and then also devise those ciphers that
didn't get solved.
Befuddled people for so long, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any conjecture on, like, are those other two ciphers unsolvable? Like, were they just nonsense that he put out there to, waste time? And
Tom, I'm gonna say something. I don't think this guy's all there.
Well,
what
exactly.
I hate when people say phrases like, he's a couple spoons short of a fully stocked cutlery drawer or something. You know what I mean? Like, when they say, like...
Now you're just talking about movies when people say these things. All right.
Like,
just
as if that's like a clever thing to say. I hate those.
Yeah, where it's like, if they misheard, if somebody overheard them, they would be like, oh, he wasn't being mean about me. He wasn't saying I was a nutcase or an idiot.
He's a couple kings short of a full deck. It's like, all right, it's just feel like, I don't know.
You don't like he's a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic basket? That makes me think of Yogi.
Yeah, it's
that makes me think that's
Yogi Bears. It's okay.
That's how Yogi might describe somebody that he perceives as nuts. So
he's a couple cans short of a 6-pack, right?
Yeah,
like
that. It's not bad.
Yeah, but like,
I like these things, Tim. But then, so I was also looking up, before I talk about, the person that it sounds like was the most likely, There were a couple of other people where in 2009, a state agent, Deborah Perez, claimed she had witnessed her late father, Guy Ward Hendrickson, shooting two of the Zodiac's victims in 1969. She also claimed she helped write the mysterious letters when she was a child.
A lot of people are accusing their dads.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. This other guy, 2014, Randy Kenny,
he wrote a whole book about it.
Said this guy, Randy Kenny?
I think so.
Yeah. Said his best friend, Louis Myers, had confessed on his deathbed he was a Zodiac killer. Myers was at the same school as two of the victims and worked in a restaurant with another. So that is like so he had connections to, three of the victims. All right. And he, told this guy he was a Zodiac killer. Do you ever think I think a lot about at first, I hope I never die. But second, I hope if I do die, I get I don't know,
that you're on your deathbed?
That I'm on my deathbed and I get to say my goodbyes to everybody and it's very nice. And then I get to say something crazy that's going to make everybody...
Yeah.
Where I'm like, all right, on my... I've never told anybody this, but I dissected an alien at Area 51, and here's how it went. And they're like, "Well, he wouldn't have lied. He was on his deathbed." It's like, nah, it was a fun way to go out.
I mean, that's the best time to lie.
Exactly. Nobody can follow up, and it's if you figure out it's a lie, whatever. Just having a bit of fun. Just having a bit of fun on my deathbed. Yeah, nothing matters. I'm going away. Either there's not an afterlife, in which case, who gives a shit, or there is, and then I'll get to have a good chuckle there.
You should hide a treasure map on your person and hand it to somebody at the last minute.
And just a treasure map that's nonsense, it doesn't lead anywhere,
or leads to a place but there's just nothing there.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to leave one of your grieving loved ones with a big mystery that's just a trick. I mean, that's a good way to not have anybody at your deathbed with you when you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were two, but the guy that there's the most, and this is the guy that was in the movie Zodiac, Arthur Lee Allen.
Oh yeah, that guy was creepy.
Yeah. Well, he's played by that good actor who plays real creepy guys all the time. I don't know the actor's name, but he's one of those good character actors that you're always like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy. Was he the guy that I can't remember what other stuff he's been in, but he's been in a bunch of stuff. For a minute, I thought he was the guy in Dumb and Dumber that dies from eating all the hot peppers, but it's not that guy. But that guy's also...
He's in Fargo. He's, what's her face?
The movie?
Husband?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What's her name? Frances McDormand.
Frances McDormand. It's a good joke.
That's how you pronounce it.
I forgot that Anthony Edwards from TV's ER was in the Zodiac.
Yeah.
He was also, Tom, in one of my... favorite performances. He played one of the McDonald brothers in The Founder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he just has a really cool career. Hey.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of great movies.
Let's hear it for John Carroll Lynch.
Yeah. And it's that end scene where he's in he's working at a hardware store, right? And the guy goes to see him.
Huh?
This guy at the end of Zodiac.
I thought you meant in The Founder. I was like, no, he's one of the McDonald's brothers.
Right, he's working in a hardware store, and Jake Gyllenhaal goes to just kind of see him face to face.
Yeah, I mean, there was that whole scene where he's goes down to the basement with him. He goes to his house.
Yeah.
Hey. You're listening to a podcast called The Complete Guide to Everything About the Zodiac Killer, where two guys struggle to remember a movie about the Zodiac Killer that came out 15 years ago.
They both claim is one of their favorite movies, but they can't remember what happens in it. And Mark Ruffalo, who's in that movie, he said the cop he played in the movie, this cop, David Toshi, he talked to him in person and stuff. And Mark Ruffalo said, quote, "If you get into who these cops were, you realize how they have to take their hunches, their personal beliefs out of it. David Toshi said to me, as soon as that guy walked in the door, I knew it was him." So, yeah, I mean, this guy's saying like...
he might not have been the Zodiac Killer, but could have killed other people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, you know... we can't run the legal system on hunches, but at the same time, if like somebody has a
no, Tom, whatever you're gonna say is wrong.
No.
I disagree.
No,
on
I was
principle.
gonna say if somebody has like a hunch, then I think that certainly is like, you know, you give a little credence to that. Not in a legal, not like throw this guy away, but like amateur sleuths like me and you. If this guy's like, I've talked to a bunch of murderers and like I can't put my finger on it, but I'm telling you, when I met this guy, something told me this was him.
So we should just frame him, coerce a confession, and we'll be done with it.
Well,
trust me, he did it.
So the other you know, clues or whatever pointing to this guy, evidence, circumstantial evidence, is that this other guy, Donald Cheney, who is a friend of his, said that this guy Arthur Lee Allen always talked about wanting to kill people, wanting to use the name Zodiac, and like taping a flashlight to his gun so he could see at you know what he's shooting at night, I guess. When they showed this picture to one of the surviving victims, he said, "That's him. That's the guy," which I feel like is pretty, you know, don't take a cop's hunch necessarily, but if somebody was almost killed by him, said, "That's him. That's the man." Sure, give that a little credence. But like a cop who saw the Zodiac Killer said like, nah, that wasn't him. But it's also like, you're a cop that saw the Zodiac Killer and didn't arrest him. So I'm not sure you're such a good cop anyway.
We don't care about your opinion.
And this guy had the same exact typewriter that the Zodiac Killer used, like the same make and model typewriter. He had a Zodiac watch, a watch made by the Zodiac company. But the DNA didn't match.
What did they know about DNA?
Well, so in 2018, they pulled DNA off a stamp, but I think it was just partial DNA. It was after they got the Golden State Killer with DNA that they were like, oh, we should try this for other killers.
Have you done 23andMe?
I did before they started using it to find killers.
Good luck murdering anybody now. Tom.
Well, good luck to my family murdering anybody, because that, you know, that's how they get you. They don't even need you.
Yeah, but guess what? Your life in paradise after this life is going to be you're going to be walking to the bar fucking every 10 minutes.
Well, no, not if they catch me after I've done the killing. That's why the Zodiac Killer was like, I don't really give a shit if you catch me. I got enough slaves in the afterlife now. Wonder who gave him that idea. I should have asked this friend of his, hey, you didn't give him this idea, did you? That
maybe Mr. Belly should have asked him.
Any cops you kill, or not cops, any victims you kill, they'll be your slaves in the afterlife? You didn't tell him that, did you? So, yeah, that's all there is to say about it, Tim. Who do you think it was?
I don't know. Some guy we've never heard of. Probably that guy that...
Arthur Allen Lee?
Yeah.
Arthur Lee Allen?
The guy who we tried to kill. That's the guy who tried to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, I give that a lot of credence. Do you think it could have been multiple people?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like there were certainly not necessarily copycat murders, but there were certainly people out there pretending to be him. There was another case of like this guy who like sent letters to like the victims' families pretending to be him.
There's always weird, like in unsolved murders, there's always people that get involved.
Like they insert themselves into the case. Yeah.
I don't like this.
And then sometimes the murderers insert themselves into the case too. It makes it very difficult. Yeah, and this guy, like, you know, later on he was like, oh, like I was a teenager and I was, you know, all fucked up. Sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have sent, letters these grieving victims pretending to be their killer, gloating over the killing. I didn't realize at the time that might have been insensitive.
Well, at least he apologized.
Yeah. He was uncanceled after that.
Doubling down, I guess.
Yeah. If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/complete guide. Follow us on Twitter at complete guide. Follow us on Instagram at tcgte. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at your pal Tim.
Check out our Reddit, tcgte.reddit.com. Check out our Discord, Complete Guide. And support the show by checking out patreon.com/complete guide. Books the podcast. We are neck deep into Andromeda Strain. The Andromeda Strain. Tim, oh boy, some stuff happened this week with the Andromeda Strain.
Aliens and stuff, I guess.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I guess like extraterrestrial happenings.
Yeah. Well, I'm eager to hear about it. And if you're listening, you've probably already heard it.
Mm-hmm.
We record these out of order for no good reason.
Yes. And hey, thanks to everybody that came to our live show the other night.
Yeah, it was fun.
In New York City. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll put that episode out at some point.
Well, people paid for it, Tom.
I know. So not now.
So we have to charge everybody else for it.
No, they'll get it when it's not timely.
Okay. Yeah.
And they'll just get the audio, not the video. They won't be able to see our hot.
You got some comments in the chat about how hot you are, Tom.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see those. Bring those up.
I'm not going to do it right now.
All right.
You
well, after the
later.
episode, you can bring it up.
Yeah, I'll read them out to you. Tom, last year at the end of Halloween month, we went to hell.
Yep, it's true.
We're going to have to top that this year. So get your mind working on that.
All right. Well, try and figure out a way to bring some slaves to paradise at the very least.
We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.